Alright, hey guys, how's it going? Season of the Haunted came out today, and with it came Solar 3.0. I've been experimenting a lot with some builds, and I have two really awesome Warlock builds that I'm excited to show you. Today, it's going to be a Sunbracers based build. You're going to be chucking a ton of grenades out, and it's really good, looks awesome, and it's a ton of fun. So as I said, it's based around Sunbracers. These give you increased duration on solar grenades, and solar melee kills grant unlimited solar grenade energy for a brief time. So how these work exactly is after you get a melee kill, you have like a 5-second activation window. If you throw a grenade in that time, you can throw a total of 5, and then the buff goes away and you have to get another melee kill to activate it again. These were already really good before Solar 3.0, but I think Solar 3.0 just brought it to a whole new level, because there was a few issues Sunbracers had, and that was with solar grenades not stacking. So if you had an enemy standing in 5 solar grenades, they only took damage as if it was 1, and that's mostly the case still, but there's some new things added with Solar 3.0 that really ups your damage against majors, and it really brings it up from just like a fun build you run. This is now a pretty serious build that's good and a lot of content. And the other problem the Sunbracers had was getting the melee kill could be a bit iffy, because you typically ran these on top tree and you had Celestial Fire with that, and a lot of the time the melee would leave enemies like a sliver of health, so it was really kind of a buzz kill to then have your rhythm ruined. Solar 3.0 solves that. So here's the build I'm running. I'm running Phoenix Dive, which I'm going to be using always if I'm on solar. I really don't like rifts. I think they're really clunky, unreliable, and they're not immediate enough for me. Usually if I'm low and I need a rift to heal, the animation will just cancel because it gets canceled by like a pebble on the floor, and the healing isn't that noticeable. With Phoenix Dive, it's an instant 75% chunk of health for you and anyone around you, and you scorch all targets around you when you land as well, which is really cool. You can use whatever jump you want. I always recommend burst. Incinerator Snap is the melee I'm running. I think you should always run this one unless you're in PvP. Celestial Fire, just single target. It does track, which is nice, and it has a much longer range than Incinerator Snap. But Incinerator Snap is a fan of 5 projectiles that explode, and they apply Scorch, which is really important because if the target lives from the melee attack itself, if they die to the Scorch from Incinerator Snap, you'll still get Sunbracers activated, which the quality of life from that is amazing, and it's really, really, really awesome. For grenade, we have to run solar grenades. None of the other grenades work with Sunbracers, so no brainer here. For aspects, first one we're running is Touch of Flame, which gives our solar grenade increased linger duration, so that with Sunbracers means these last forever, and then they periodically emit blobs of lava around the perimeter. Now, I think, I might be wrong, but I think these blobs of lava stack, so if you have 5 in one spot, these lava things are going to be doing a ton of damage. And even if that doesn't stack, what does stack is the Scorch from these. Enemies are going to be incinerating a ton, or igniting is the key word. So the more Scorch stacks they have, eventually they're going to explode. These apply Scorch, so enemies are going to be igniting and exploding a ton. For fragments, we're running Ember of Torches. So powered melee attacks against combatants makes you and anyone around you radiant, which is a damage buff. Ember of Singeing, class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. Pretty self-explanatory. You get Phoenix Dive up more often. Ember of Eruption. Solar ignitions have an increased area of effect. So whenever an enemy explodes, it's going to be a bigger radius. And Scorch stacks, you apply more Scorch stacks to targets. So it's pretty self-explanatory there. You don't need to run anything like, let's see, Ember of Blistering, because you're going to be getting your grenade back just from melee kills. So you don't need any grenade regen because you're solely reliant on your melee. And you don't need Ember of Searing either because you're not going to need melee energy because of this, your other aspect, Heat Rises. I'm utilizing a very small part of this. I'm not using anything about the consuming grenade. We're using this solely for that last sentence there, which is final blows while airborne increase the duration of Heat Rises. Not that part. And grant melee energy. So any kill while in the air is going to give you melee energy. And this is kind of what the whole build is based around. This is what's going to be charging the Sunbracers up, giving us those infinite grenades. So the rhythm of the build is you're going to get a melee kill with Incinerator Snap, either from the burst of it itself or by the burn. That's going to give you 5 solar grenades, 5 super buff solar grenades. You're going to chuck those out and then just sit in the air for a second, and all those kills are going to give you your melee back. And then you can just repeat. Get another melee kill, throw 5 grenades. That's the rhythm of the build. For mods, you can kind of do a few things. I'm still experimenting to find the best that I prefer, but right now I'm just running Melee Wellmaker, Elemental Ordnance, Heavy-Handed with Elemental Charge, and then Well of Life. So basically, I'm just ensuring I have lots of wells to pick up. Picking those up will allow me to activate Heavy-Handed, which gives me half of my melee back, just in case I blunder it and whiff it. I'll only have to recharge half of it again, so it's a bit of a safety net. And then also be healed anytime I pick up one of those wells with Well of Life. A thing to consider too, let's say you're out of grenade and out of melee. I like to run Osteo because your in-air accuracy is not going to be great, so you'd want something that homes like Osteo. So if you're out of every cooldown, this really helps with that because your accuracy doesn't matter as much because you're going to be homing with this. And then the poison spreads, kills everything. As long as you're in the air, that's going to give your melee back really, really quickly. That about does it for the build. I want to jump into the Pit of Heresy really quick, into that altar encounter, because that's an encounter a lot of people have problems with just reading, if you're reading anything about people soloing it or solo flawlessing it. So I want to show you how this build does there, because it's a bit more interesting than just killing thralls in the Thrallway or the beginning of Grasp. Alright, let's get started. Really quick, you can use whatever super you want. I prefer Well, just for the ability to say oh shit and press Well and you'll live in case your Phoenix Dive is on cooldown. It's also just really good for bosses too, especially solo, so you can just sit there and tank their damage. So you're always going to want to start off with a melee, which I don't have real quick, so let's get it. So just get some kills while in the air. There we go. So toss the melee out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grenades. We just want to kind of hover in the air here for a second. Boom. Our melee's back. We toss it out again. Wait for it to die for that burn. Got 5 more grenades to toss out. As you can see, the ignition starts to stack really quickly, and it'll kind of just get chunked and bursted, which did not used to happen with old Sunbracers. It would have been really healthy stuff. So Now as you can see, we're out of both melee and grenade here, so we're kind of in a bit of a lull state right now with our abilities. So we just have to get a couple in-air kills, get our melee back, now we can chain our grenades again. As you can see, I have like 10 grenades out almost. It's crazy. Let's get rid of these pesky guys. I want to kill myself there with the explosion. Alright. Going pretty good so far. See if we can keep it that way. Let's go ahead and get a melee kill right here. Toss our grenades out. Get to clearing. They're low, so we're going to top off there with Phoenix Dive. Let's throw all our grenades up here, get rid of these guys. These guys are what make the encounter really hard, I think, those knights. Everything else is really manageable. Alright, halfway done. As you can see, we take these ads out so quickly. And then we're low, we can top off, and we'll have that Phoenix Dive up, lickety split. See, like we need it again, it's already out. There we go. Let's get rid of those guys again. This encounter isn't like a pushover. People have a lot of problems with it, especially if you aren't running Devour, which kind of crutches you here and makes it pretty easy. This is not easy to do, but with Phoenix Dive, it almost acts as like a pseudo Devour, that instant heal. Pop our melee there. And let's bomb this balcony. Getting a bit low, top up the Phoenix Dive, and we'll have that back up again real quickly with all the Scorch Repline. So yeah, we've got it up already. Let's get a melee kill. Let's bomb the balcony again. You might want to do not what I'm doing, and you want to have your melee bound to where you'll throw the ability out even if you're super close, because it counts as a ranged melee, so it's like waiting for you to have that range. Yeah, it'd be really nice to not have to back up like that for the fans, so I'll definitely do that after this. Just make sure that's on. Getting a little low with Phoenix Dive here. I think this is it. Might have one more to do, but let's see. No, this is it. Alright, so as you can see, it gets a little bit hectic still, mainly just because of these guys. But as you can see, the wave clear is ridiculous. And it's really easy to... The upkeep's really easy too. Even if you blunder grenade and melee, you can really easily get it back just with a couple kills in the air. Especially if you have heavy-handed to help with that, because you only need to get half back then. that's gonna do it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. See you guys soon for the healing build. Have a good one.